You know, we won't hesitate to make an additional comment on the support of Midtown Audi. Their financial support to the club and this swim meet is outstanding. It's a great way to keep the program running in terms of its quality, add some frills and toys, and in return, they're receiving, you know, some support from you. We don't know how many cars would be sold, but what we do know is this meet is not called the Scarborough meet. It's not called the Pan Am meet. It's called the Audi meet. And thousands of people know it now as the Audi Invitational. So we want to give special thanks to Audi for that. It's important, and we wish we had more corporate sponsors across our sport, but maybe it's a good start. No reason why we can't have more corporate support like that right across many clubs in the region. And you never get tired of talking about what happened last night in Toronto at the Scotiabank Arena. The Toronto Raptors have home court advantage at the NBA Finals starting Thursday night. Great win last night. Kawhi Leonard, 27 points. Great support from his teammates. Great win, great marker for Toronto. And we're going to have some fun watching the games next week. And speaking of saying thank you, we want to give our thanks to the large number of officials who are supporting the meet. It's not always easy to gather the number of people required to run a large meet, and it's great that we don't have to pull anybody in from the stands either, which some other clubs have been forced to do lately. So again, thanks for that. Your starter for this evening is Mr. Paul Sostar, and your referee is Mark Berry. We are going the B final first, and they will be introduced in the water. The A final is being introduced behind the blocks. The order of events for tonight is the 400 IM, 50 freestyle, 200 back, 100 fly, and 200 free. Coaches are reminded to please pick up your awards at the conclusion of this evening's session. And historically, we get some no-shows on Sunday nights, so alternates, if you're here, please report to the referee prior to the start of each race. We're just about ready to go, so now we would like to have you stand and please join in the singing of our Canadian National Anthem. The 400 item tonight is a time final. We have 2 heats of girls, followed by 2 heats of boys. Natalie Merrill, 5:18.36, winning this heat. Julia Tecker, 5:26.40. And Abby Gamello, 5:32.93. The results on the board are official. Up next, Heat 2, girls 400 IM. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from Markham, Emma Gow. Lane 1 from Granite, Kathleen Ross. Lane 2 from Swim Ottawa, Karina Grusin. Lane 3 from Granite, Ann Farr. In 4, Scarborough's Sam Bariza. In 5, Orangeville's Abby Sostar. Lane 6 from Toronto, Isabella Monahan. Lane 8, Region of Waterloo, Alina Armbruster. And lane number 9 from Oakville, Bao Tran. Lane 5, Abby Sostar winning his heat, 5:11.24. Sam Bariza from Scarborough, 5:13.87. And Ann Farr, 5:13.94. The results on the board are official. Up next, Heat 1 of 2, boys 13 and over, 400 IM. Mr. Referee.
So do you want to know who's here, not here?
Yeah.
So,
I gotta do the intro switch. Lane 0, Gregor McPherson from Ajax. In lane 2 from Markham, Ethan Jong. Lane 3 from Markham, Ethan Abitangelo. Lane 4 from Orangeville, Owen Jibb. Lane 7 from Scarborough, Robert Taw. Lane 8 from Toronto, Atal Zamari. Lane 9 from Charlottetown, Blake Kingston. Owen Jibb from the Orangeville Otters at 5:02:37. Ethan Jong, 5:05:81. And Blake Kingston, 5:12:42. The results on the board are official. Up next, Heat 2 of 2, 400 IM for boys. Here we go. Mr. Referee. In lane 1 from Scarborough, Ashi Akagawa. Lane 2 from Vaughan, Max Howe. Lane 3 from Ajax, Matthew Nowak. Lane 4 from Waterloo, Matthew Burton. Lane 5 from Toronto, Aidan Stever. Lane 6 from Waterloo, Alexander Roos. Lane 7 from Markham, Stephen Hui. Lane 8 from St. John's Legends, Josh Dancy. And in lane 9 from Richmond Hill, Zachary Chow. Winning this heat easily, Matthew Burton from the region of Waterloo, 449.85. From Markham, Stephen Hui, 456.72. And Aiden Stever from Toronto, 456.81. The results on the board are official. Hey, Mark. So you're going to follow my lead then?
Said you do the lead. I'm gonna MJ. I'll be telling her that it's official. She'll tell you. The pool will be cleared, and you do your stuff. I said, look for MJ.
We're starting from the south end of the pool now for the 50 freestyle. We have a B final followed by an A final. The B final will be introduced in the water. A final will be introduced behind the blocks. First up, girls 13 and 14, 50 freestyle, B final. Correction, that's an A final for both 13 and 14 and 15 and over. In the water, lane 0, Toronto's Tara. Lane 1, Scarborough's Michaela. Lane 2 from Vaughan, Lucia. Lane 3 from Ottawa, Julie. Lane 4 from Markham, Jessica. Lane 5, Ajax, Tatum. Claire is in 6 from Scarborough. Ottawa's Maya is in 7. Chloe from Markham in 8. And Mac from Toronto is in 9. Here we go. Tatum O'Shea, 27.49. Julie Brosseau, 27.53. And Jessica Shang, 27.77. The results on the board are official. Up next, 15-year-old girls, 50 freestyle. In lane 0 from York, Julia Duck. Lane 1 from Granite, Gabriela Landau. Lane 2 from Ajax, Alyssa Betancourt. Lane 6 from Charlottetown, Amy Wheatley. Lane 8 from Orangeville, Logan Tucker. Mr. Referee. 5 meters to go. Here we go. Lane 2, Alyssa Betancourt, 27.73. Amy Wheatley, 27.76. And Logan Tucker, 28.38. The results on the board are now official. Up next, boys 13 and 14, A final for the 50 freestyle. In lane 2 from Orangeville, Benjamin Malone. Lane 3 from Vaughan, Richard Meow. Lane 5, Orangeville, Alexander Bowen. Lane 6 from Ajax, Caden Ward. Lane 7 from Vaughan, Aaron Sood. Lane 8 from Richmond Hill, James Chen. And lane 9 from Richmond Hill, Brian Zhang. Mr. Referee. Sorry, the results are unclear on that race. There's nobody in lane 4. The results on the board are official. Up next, boys 15 and over, 50 freestyle. Lane 1 from Charlottetown, Charlie Morse. Lane 4 from Charlottetown, Peter Van Wielen. Lane 5 from Orangeville, Evan Aguiar Winter. Lane 6 from the J Dolphins, Hoyen Rue. Lane 7 from Granite, Bajan Zion. Lane 8 from the Granite Gators, Sean Newman. Lane 9 from Vaughan, Reed Tishi. Mr. Referee. Peter Van Wielen, 24.53. Evan Aguiar Winter, 25.17. And Cameron Maxwell, 25.29. The results on the board are official. We move to this end of the pool again. First event up is the girls 13 and 14 200 backstroke B final. ready to go. Mr. Referee, 200-meter backstroke, 13 and 14 girls, B final. Lane 0 from Swim Ottawa, Logan Tanneker. Lane 1 from Waterloo, Mackenzie Liu. Lane 2 from Markham and Jessica Cabildo Jenna. Lane 3 from Dorado, Jesselyn Arell. Lane 4 from Oakville, Bao Tran. Lane 5 from Oshawa, Hannah Kolasnik. Lane 6 from J Dolphins, Chloe Chen. Lane 7 from Markham, Emma Gao. Lane 8 from Ajax, Hadley Curry. Lane 9 from Dorado, Allison Noonan. At the 50, Hadley Curry, 36.04. Emma Gao at 36.34. At the 100, Emma Gao, 115.95. Mackenzie Liu, 115.99. And Bao Tran, 117.04. Well, maybe not. And Miguel maintains her lead at 156.17. Mackenzie Liu at 157.42. And Bao Tran, 157.90. And Miguel, big improvement on this morning's swim, 235.19. Bao Tran, 237.29. And Hannah Kolasnik, 237.83. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, girls 13 and 14, 200 backstroke. In lane 0 from Toronto, Lorden Bennett. Lane 1 from Toronto, Mac Peterson. Lane 2 from Scarborough, Alice Borgi. Lane 3 from Ajax, Natalie Merrill. Lane 4 from Granite, Brooke Manning. Lane 5 from Markham, Jessica Shang. Lane 6 from Toronto, Natalie Stokes. Lane 7 from Orangeville, Bronwyn Shaw. Lane 8 from Toronto, Lily Sheridan. Lane 9 from Vaughan, Lucia Ucia. Mr. Referee. One of the key elements in a 200-meter backstroke is to maintain stroke consistency, stroke rate throughout the entire race. Oftentimes we'll see the third 50 stroke rate drop off, but their goal is to maintain a consistent stroke rate throughout the entire 200. Natalie Merrill, 32.83 at the 50, 33.88 for Brooke Manning, and Lily Sheridan, 33.99. Brooke Manning, lane 4, 110.35. Natalie Stokes from Toronto, 112.09. And Jessica Shang, 112.35. And by the way, on that second 50, Brooke Manning was turning over 33.5 cycles a minute. Natalie Merrill, 148.05. Brooke Manning, 148.13. And Natalie Stokes, 150.65. Stroke rates have increased to 36 and 37 strokes a minute on this final 50. Looks like lane number 4, Brooke Manning, 224.29. Natalie Merrill, 224.97. And Natalie Stokes, 228.25. The results on the board are official. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, they just didn't tell you.
What do you Up next, 15 and over B final. Lane 0, Courtney McBride. Lane 1 from Toronto, Alana Odenechki. Lane 2 from Vaughan, Annika Klausman. Lane 3 from Orangeville, Willow Sherity. Lane 4 from Toronto, Claire Hendricks. Lane 5 from York, Germana Sansonetti. Lane 6 from Charlottetown, Charlie Russell. Lane 7 from Scarborough, Heidi Acott. Lane 8 from Ottawa, Karina Grusin. And lane number 9 from Ajax, Erica Vandervoort. Mr. Referee. Lane 0, outside smoke. Courtney McBride, 34.45. Germana Santinetti, 35.40. And Claire Hendricks, 36.05. Along with Heidi, 36.05.
Thanks for sneaking Heidi in there. They said they gaffed. Bees are to be called in the water. We're not yet. Oh, okay. They thought it was there.
Lane 0, Courtney McBride continues her lead at 152.27. Germana Santinetti, 155.37. And Claire Hendricks, 156.04. 2. Way out in front of this heat, Courtney McBride, 230.43. Germana Santinetti, 235.70. And Claire Hendricks, 236.57. The results on the board are official. Up next, the A final, 15 and over, 200 backstroke. In lane 0 from Swim Ottawa, Fiona Stewart. Lane 1 from Dorado, Allison Storr. Lane 2 from Ajax, Alyssa Cook. Lane 3 from Ajax, Emily Long. Lane 4 from Waterloo, Natalie Peterson. Lane 5 from Dorado, Mihaela Datars. Lane 6 from Ajax, Maya Harrison. Lane 7 from Waterloo, Jessica Rebel. Lane 8 from Orangeville, Abby Sostar. Lane 9 from Granite Gators, Gabriela Landau. Mr. Referee. Natalie Peterson in this race hit that mark exactly right on it, 14.5 meters. You cannot go past 15 meters on a backstroke start or turn underwater. Here she goes. 32.82 at the 50. Abby Sostar, 34.07. And Maya Harrison, 34.56. To ensure accuracy on your start and turns, many swimmers will count the number of kicks underwater so they know when to break the surface. Way out in front at this heat, 107.53 for Natalie Peterson. Abby Sostar from Orangeville, 110.45. And Mihaela Datars from Dorado, 111.95. Natalie's out in front at 143.22. Abby Sostar has picked up the second spot, 148.89, and Mahalia Datars 149.64. Natalie was 221.47 in the prelims, and here she goes, 218.09 in the finals. That's a nice improvement over the morning swim. Abby Sostar, 226.05, and Mahalia Datars, 227 flat. The results on the board are official. Up next, boys 13 and 14 B final, 200 back. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from Ajax, Corey Gui. Lane 1 from Vaughan, Aaron Sood. Lane 2 from Scarborough, Anthony DiCarlo. Lane 3 from Oakville, Alexander Hagwilaski. Lane 4 from Richmond Hill, Avesta Ashuri. Lane 5 from Richmond Hill, Max Dominin. Lane 6 from Scarborough, Declan Magroti. Lane 7 from Vaughan, Michael Yakuboff. Lane 8 from Vaughan, Michael DeBasi. Lane 9 from Vaughan, Stefan Vlachik. At the 100, 110.72 for Alexander Mekalovsky. Sorry about that. Corey Gui, 110.72, and Anthony DiCarlo, 110.95. At the 150, 149.01 for Anthony DiCarlo, 149.28 for Alexander, and Max Diamond, 150.13. Alex had a great final 50 there at 226.45 for the win. Anthony DiCarlo, 227.38, and Max Diamond, 227.94. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, boys 13 and 14, 200 backstroke. In lane 0 from Scarborough, Jared Melzak. Lane 1 from Markham, Stephen Hui. Lane 2 from Orangeville, Alexander Bowen. Lane 3 from Vaughan, Jesus Kova. Lane 4 from Markham, Charles Zhang. Lane 5 from Scarborough, Quinn George. Lane 6 from Toronto, Philip Semenik. Lane 7 from Ajax, Braylon Loesch Perry. Lane 8 from Richmond Hill, Jerry Zhao. Lane 9 from Vaughan, Richard Miao. Mr. Referee. At the 50, Alexander Bowen from Orangeville, 32.06. Charles Zhang, 32.65. And Quinn George, 33.18. Alexander Bowen, slight lead, 107.38 over Charles Zhang, 107.81. Quinn George, 109.29. Alexander Bowen retains his lead at 143.38. Charles Zhang in lane 4, 144.13. Quinn George comes in third at this stage, 145.87. Alexander Bowen, 218.51. Charles Zhang, 219.79. And Quinn George, 222.48. Nice drop from this morning's swim. Alexander Bowen this morning, 226.08. The results on the board are official. Up next, the B final, boys 15 and over, 200 backstroke. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from Scarborough, Victor Christen. Lane 1 from Richmond Hill, Alexander Kostiak. Lane 2 from Richmond Hill, Liao Guan. Lane 3 from Granite, Cameron Osler. Lane 4 from Pickering, Victor Vrakovic. Lane 5 from Markham, Quinn Bascarello. Lane 6 from Charlottetown, Blake Kingston. Lane 7 from Toronto, Ryan Kim. Lane 8 from Scarborough, Brogan Caldwell. lane 9 from Vaughn, Benjamin Ruse. Victor Vragovic, 110.35. Cameron Osler, 110.78. And Leo Guan, 111.81.
When you have a moment, I just want to let everyone know, in the lost and found, there's 2 female high-tech swimsuits.
Well, you bring those here. I'll identify
Just they
them.
have to go in there and look at it. Just say there's 3 high-tech swimsuits in the lost and found.
Okay.
Just they can double check her for anyone. I hate some of the travel, but
Cameron Osler, 225.61. Victor Vragovic, 227.97. And Blake Kingston, 229.05. Listen, we found earlier this morning, we found 3 high-tech female suits in the change room. They're in Lost and Found by the guard office. Expensive suits. Go check them out, please. The results on the board are official. Up next, the championship final, boys 15 and over, 200 backstroke. In lane 0 from Ajax, Danny Hamadan. Lane 1 from Toronto, Reed Miller Murphy. Lane 2 from Ajax, Matthew Nowak. Lane 3 from Orangeville, Cameron Maxwell. Lane 4 from J Dolphins, Eric Pakaglu. Lane 5 from Orangeville, Evan Aguiar Winter. Lane 6 from Charlottetown, Charlie Morse. Lane 7 from Waterloo, Andrew Cooper. Lane 8 from Vaughan, Reed Tishi. Lane 9 from J Dolphins, C. Lee. Mr. Referee. Cameron Maxwell at the 50, 30.2. Eric's through at 30.26, and Evan Aguiar Winter at 30.70. At the 100, Cameron Oaten, 103.25. Evans through in 104.14, and Eric's through in 104.61. Cameron Maxwell at the 150, 136.99. Eric's through in 139.44. And just behind Evans through in 159.39.53. Cameron Maxwell, 209.76. He was 216.24 this morning. Eric finishes up in 213.20. And Evan Aguiar Winter at 215.50. The results on the board are now official. Up next, the B final, girls 13 and 14, 100 fly. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from Markham, Maeve Atkinson. Lane 1 from Ajax, Tatum O'Shea. Lane 2 from Granite, Meredith Zimikas. Lane 3 from Markham, Chloe Mendiola. Lane 4 from Dorado, Sophia Calavini. Lane 5 from Toronto, Stella Vrikin. Lane 6 from Ottawa, Julie Brasseau. Lane 7 from Ottawa, Logan Tanaka. Lane 8 from Toronto, Lily Sheridan. And lane 9 from Vaughan, Isabella Dugani. From Dorado, Sophia Calavini, 108.54. Meredith Zimikas, 109.64. And Julie Brasseau, 109.80. The results on the board are official. Up next, the championship final, girls 13 and 14, 100 fly. In lane 0 from Toronto, Laurel Service. Lane 1 from Waterloo, Hannah Gallagher. Lane 2 from Toronto, Tara Antonin. Lane 3 from Scarborough, Michaela Blake. Lane 4 from Markham, Choi Z Yao. Lane 5 from Ottawa, Armani De Lima Baril. Lane 6 from Ajax, Abby Gamello. Lane 7 from Scarborough, Caitlin Hume. Lane 8 from Scarborough, Claire Nicolosian. Lane 9 from Toronto, Ella Farnwood. Mr. Referee. Nice swim for Choi Yao, 102.58 from Markham. Michaela Blake at 106.20 and Abby Gamello, 107.14. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, B final, 15 and over girls, 100 fly. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from Toronto, Carmina Cornichia. Lane 1 from Richmond Hill, Julia Baldassar. Lane 2 from Ajax, Alyssa Cook. Lane 3 from Toronto, Leith Cameron. Lane 4 from Ajax, Maya Harrison. Lane 5 from Dorado, Mahalia Datars. Lane 6 from Scarborough, Heidi Acott. Lane 7 from Granite, Camille Adis. Lane 8 from Dorado, Allison Storr. Lane 9 from Toronto, Isabella Monahan. Maya Harrison at the 50, 32 flat. Julie at 32.25 and Lee at 32.29.
You're doing really well with my daughter's name, Nicolation. Like you say Nicolation, I know. I feel bad for you. I'm like, I should come over and tell you so you make it feel like Nicolation. I go by name. That's hard.
Mahalia Datars 108.75, Maya Harrison 108.78, and Heidi Acott 109.86. The results on the board are now official. Up next, championship final, girls 15 and over, 100 fly. In lane 0 from Granite Gators, Gabriella Landau. Lane 1 from Granite, Sydney Gray. Lane 2 from Charlottetown, Amy Wheatley. Lane 3 from Waterloo, Natalie Peterson. Lane 4 from Granite, Ann Farr. Lane 5 from Orangeville, Logan Tucker. Lane 6 from Ajax, Alicia Betancourt. Lane 7 from Swim Ottawa, Karina Grusin. Lane 8 from Dorado, Emma Calavini. And lane 9 from Pickering, Callie McGilly. Mr. Referee. At the 50, Logan Tucker, 29.85. Amy's in at 30.69 and Alicia, 30.87. Looks like lane 5, Logan Tucker, 104.55. Ann Farr, 105.50, and Natalie Peterson, 106.26. The results on the board are official. Up next, boys 13 and 14 B final 100 fly. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from Markham, Matthew Sun. Lane 1 from Ajax, Brody Caragia. Lane 2 from J Dolphins, Javier Sylvester. Lane 3 from Orangeville, Garrett Langloy. Lane 4 from Ajax, Braylon Loesch Perry. Lane 5 from Granite, Ethan Sang. Lane 6 from Richmond Hill, Rick Huang. Lane 7 from Scarborough, Declan McGrorty. Lane 8 from Scarborough, Anthony DiCarlo. And in lane number 9 from Vaughan, Stefan Vlachik. Lane 5, Ethan Sang, 105.71. Rick Wang, 106.11. And Braylon Loesch Perry, 106.54. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, boys 13 and 1400 fly. In lanes 0 from Vaughan, Michael Yakubov. Lane 1 from Vaughan, Aaron Sood. Lane 2 from Toronto, Alex Schiffman. Lane 3 from Ajax, Caden Ward. Lane 4 from Scarborough, Jared Melzak. Lane 5 from Orangeville, Alexander Bowen. Lane 6 from Waterloo, Alexander Roos. Lane 7 from Markham, Charles Zhang. Lane 8 from Toronto, Sam Vakila. Lane 9 from Toronto, Jonathan Level. Mr. Referee. At the 50, 28.58 for Jared. Caden's through in 28.74. Jonathan at 29.78. Looks like lane number 5. Sorry, I don't think so. The results on the board are official. Up next, B final, boys 15 and over, 100 fly. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from St. John's, Josh Dancy. Lane 1 from Orangeville, Bradley Perry. Lane 2 from Toronto, Cade Cermak. Lane 3 from Ajax, Adnan Kurji. Lane 4 from Ajax, Danny Maiden. Lane 5 from Toronto, Callum Murray. Lane 6 from Vaughan, Oliver Kramer. Lane 7 from Waterloo, Matthew Burton. Lane 8 from Markham, Ethan Jong. Lane 9 from Vaughan, Bob Zhu. Matthew Burton for the win, 101.57. Josh Dancy, 102.25. Oliver Kramer, 102.43. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, boys 15 and over 100 fly. In lane 0 from Toronto, Min Liu. Lane 1 from Granite Gators, Sean Newman. Lane 2 from Granite, Bijan Zayan. Lane 3 from Scarborough, Asashi Akagawa. Lane 4 from J Dolphins, Hoyan Rue. Lane 5 from J Dolphins, Eric Pakalu. Lane 6 from Granite, Christopher Billman. Lane 7 from Richmond Hill, Ethan Dyke Elliott. Lane 8 from York, Pedro Silva. Lane 9 from Markham, Louis Zao. Mr. Referee. Christopher Billman, 26.86. Hoyan Rue, 27.60. And Eric's at 27.92. Christopher Billman, 58.33. Eric's through in 59.24. And Horan, 59.25. The results on the board are official. Up next in B final, girls 13 and 14, 200 freestyle. Mr. Referee. In lane 0 from Ajax, Hadley Curry. Lane 1 from Toronto, Olivia Francis. Lane 2 from Toronto, Natalie Stokes. Lane 3 from J Dolphins, Chloe Shen. Lane 4 from Toronto, Elia Farnwood. Lane 5 from Toronto, Tara Antonin. Lane 6 from Toronto, Lorden Bennett. Lane 7 from Markham, Catherine Lee. Lane 8 from Vaughan, Sarah Jacobson. Lane 9 from Pickering, Jasmine Jaswal. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, girls 13 and 14, 200-meter freestyle. In lane 0 from Vaughan, Lucia Ucia. In lane 1 from Scarborough, Claire Nicolosian. Lane 2 from Toronto, Mac Peterson. Lane 3 from Toronto, Stella Vrieken. Lane 4 from Markham, Choi Z Yao. Lane 5 from Ajax, Tatum O'Shea. Lane 6 from Ottawa, Julie Brasseau. Lane 7 from Toronto, Jillian Coombs. Lane 8 from Scarborough, Michaela Blake. And lane 9 from Toronto, Laurel Service. Mr. Referee. The best 200 freestylers in the country will always even split this race within a second of the delta. We don't want to take it out too hard. We also want to come back strong. A lot of coaches focus on the third 50 on this race. Right across the board here. Wow. Got 6 swimmers within 0.2 of a second. Julie's out in front at 30.6. Stella Vrieken from Toronto, 104.18 at the 100. Julie Brasseau, 104.53. And Tatum O'Shea, 104.55. Tatum O'Shea slips out in front. 138.26. Stella Vreeken still in it, 138.64. And Julie's through on 139.32. They're both kicking strong coming into this final 50 here. 5 meters to go. Tatum O'Shea, 2:11.04. Stella Vreeken, 2:11.68. And Julie Brosseau, 2:13.19. The results on the board are now official. Up next, the B final for girls 15 and over 200 freestyle. Mr. Referee. In lane 0, Toronto's Eve Boyer. Lane 2, Charlottetown's Amy Wheatley. Lane 3 from Dorado, Angelique Singh. Lane 5 from Scarborough, Olivia Baldwin. Lane 6 from Pickering, Megan Wright. Lane 7 from Scarborough, Rebecca Hahn. Lane 8 from Toronto, Clara Hudichin. Lane 9 from Ajax, Alyssa Betancourt. Olivia Baldwin at the 100, 106.22. Just behind, Megan's through on 106.42, and Rebecca's through on 106.50. Lane 5, Olivia Baldwin, 2:16.95. Clara's through on 2:18.74, and Megan Wright, 2:19.65. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, girls 15 and over, 200 free. In lane 0, from Oshawa, Sarah Reimer. Lane 1 from Waterloo, Jessica Rebel. Lane 2 from Scarborough, Sam Bariza. Lane 3 from Granite, Sydney Gray. Lane 4 from Orangeville, Logan Tucker. Lane 5 from York, Julia Duck. Lane 6 from Orangeville, Willow Sherity. Lane 7 from Vaughan, Annika Klausman. Lane 8 from York, Kira Schwartz Chisholm. Lane 9 from Granite, Claire Nurmi. Mr. Referee. At 100, Logan Tucker, 30.02. Julia, 30.12. And Annika, 31.31. Orangeville's Logan Tucker, 102.41. Julia Duck, 103.88. And Annika Klausman, 105.80. Logan extends her lead to 136.26. Julia Duck, 139.11. And Willow, 141.37. Logan Tucker, 209.92. Julia Duck, 214.66. And Sam Bariza, 215.81. Nice swim, girls. The results on the board are official. Up next, the B final, boys 13 and 14, 200 free. Mr. Referee. Lane 0 from Oakville, Alexander Malashki. Lane 1 from Toronto, Sam Vakilia. Lane 2 from Ajax, Caden Ward. Lane 3 from Toronto, Jonathan Lebel. Lane 4 from Pickering, David Harvey. Lane 5 from Scarborough, Jared Melzak. Lane 6 from Markham, Isaac Benjamin. Lane 7 from Richmond Hill, Anthony Shue. Lane 8 from Orangeville, Benny Malone. Lane 9 from Scarborough, Quinn George. At the 100, David Harvey, 103.88. Jonathan Lebel from Toronto, 104.45. And Anthony Shue, 104.74. Big strong finish for these boys. David Harvey, 212.25. Caden Ward, 212.87. And Jonathan Lebel, 213.30. The results on the board are official. Up next, championship final, boys 13 and 14, 200 free. In lane 0 from Orangeville, Garrett Langloy. Lane 1 from Granite, Ethan Zhang. Lane 2 from Ajax, Braylon Loesch Perry. Lane 3 from Markham, Stephen Hui. Lane 4 from Orangeville, Owen Jibb. Lane 5 from Orangeville, Alexander Bowen. Lane 6 from Toronto, Alex Schiffman. Lane 7 from Toronto, Philip Semenik. Lane 8 from Toronto, Denise Makul. Lane 9 from Vaughan, Jesus Kova. Mr. Referee. Stephen Hui at the 50, 28.63. Owen Jibb, 29.06. Ethan Zhang, 29.53. Stephen Hui from Markham, 100.24. Owen Jibb from Orangeville, 101.27. And Ethan Zhang, 101.55. You know, as young swimmers, we try and encourage the younger swimmers to breathe bilateral, breathing on both sides of the stroke, every third stroke. But when you get to the age of 15, 17 and on, typically they're breathing on one side only. It could be on one side of the pool and the same side on the other side. Here comes these two guys coming in now. Stephen and Owen. But look at Owen flying this last 50 here. Seriously, what a nice finish. Owen Jibb from Orangeville, seriously, 203.93. Stephen Hui, 205.30. Ethan Zhang, 206.65. That was a good swim. The results on the board are official. Up next, the B final, boys 15 and over, 200 free. Mr. Referee. Lane 0 from Markham, Ethan Abitangelo. Lane 1 from Scarborough, Matthew Yan. Lane 2 from Dorado, Mario Agostino. Lane 3 from Scarborough, Robert Taw. Lane 4 from Ajax, Adnan Kurji. Lane 5 from Toronto, Cade Chermak. Lane 6 from Orangeville, Bradley Perry. Lane 7 from Granite, Cameron Osler. Lane 8 from J Dolphins, C. Lee. Lane 9 from Vaughan, Robert Belavacqua.
Reminder to pick up their medals, please. Thank you.
Coaches are reminded to please pick up the medals before you leave tonight. Awards table is outside the officials' room. Here in the B final, Adnan Kurji, 206.59. Cade Chermak, 208.61, and Cameron Osler, 208.75. The results on the board are now official. Up next, the final race of the evening and the final race of the weekend. Saving the best for the last for the A final, the boys 15 and over 200 free. Lane 0 from Granite Gators, Bijan Zion. Lane 1 from J Dolphins, Eric Pakulou. Lane 2 from Charlottetown, Charlie Morse. Lane 3 from Granite Gators, Sean Newman. Lane 4 from Orangeville, Evan Aguiar Winter. Lane 5 from Orangeville, Cameron Maxwell. Lane 6 from J Dolphins, Hoyun Rue. Lane 7 from Vaughan, Reed Tishi. Lane 8 from Charlottetown, Peter Vandeluian. And lane 9 from Vaughan, Oliver Kramer. Mr. Referee. At the 50, Evan Aguiar Winter, 27.19. Hoyun Rue, 27.74. And Peter Vandeluian, 27.98. Evans through in 57.91. That's a nice split. Hoyun at 58.57 and Peters 59.32. Evan Aguiar Winter 201.28 for the win. Horyun Rue 201.51 and Peter Vandeleeuwen 202.39. That was a nice finish. Great way to finish the meet. I want to thank you for coming. Please drive safe on the way home. Charlottetown and St. John's, have a great flight home. Have a great evening.